Hello and welcome into another edition of the Arizona State Sun Devils Insider Podcast. My name is Kevin Hicks and I am your lead beat writer for the Arizona State Sun Devils on SI. And I'm so grateful to be joining you on this beautiful Tuesday morning. And we are about a day and a half out from Arizona State men's basketball, taking to the court on a two-game road trip in their first of two games on their road trip against the 9 and 12 Utah Utes. Utah right now is 15th out of 16 teams in the Big 12 standings, while Arizona State is 14th, I believe. And this is going to be categorized as a must-win game for the Sun Devils. Um, I'm going to take you through what's at stake in this game, a couple of players to watch from Utah side of things, and what I ultimately think is going to happen in this game, what I think the outcome is going to be. Uh, Buckle up for the ride. It's going to be a fascinating game. Um, yeah, and let's get into it. The first thing that I wanted to do, like I said, was discuss what's at stake in this game. So this is a must-win game of all must-win games for the Sun Devils. We are going to talk about a couple of Utah players that are very enticing, but this Utah team, the truth is they are around 110, the 110 range in the net rankings. They are by far the lowest rated Big 12 team. And that would be a damaging loss to Arizona State's season in a year that they already have 11 losses. If they fall below 500, especially losing to Utah, for all intents and purposes, the season is done. I think a lot of people already believe that the season is effectively decided as far as what Arizona State's postseason fate will be. But if they win this game and if they beat Colorado, you might be looking at a team that has new life. If they are able to string off wins against Utah, Colorado, and Oklahoma State over the next week, you might be looking at a team that's 14 and 11 with positive momentum going forward. You have another game against Utah. You have two games against on the road against TCU and Baylor, which are winnable games on paper right now. And we'll see what happens with Arizona State over the next few days, but this is really the inflection point of the season. It's now or never at this stage. And you can look back and say, man, if we had sealed the deal against Oregon State, if we had come out on top against Colorado in the last 2 minutes of the game in the Big 12 opener, if we had closed out UCF and gotten that quad one victory, things would be looking so much different right now. But you got to take care of what's ahead in front of you, and it starts on Wednesday night against Utah. That's really the main thing that's at stake. And I don't think there's really any other way around it. Now, there are a couple of Utah players that do raise my eyebrows, do give me a level of concern as far as Arizona State's viability to win this game. I mean, it is a very top-heavy Utah squad. They have four players that average over 9 points a game, and those four players are regularly available. They have played 20 or 21 games this season, each of them. The two players that really give me a little concern as far as Arizona State's opportunity to win this game are Terrence Brown and Don McHenry. This Utah team averages about 80 points a game, and about half of them come from these two players. Actually, exactly half of them, because actually over half, because they average 79.5 points per game, and the two players combined for 40 points per game. So yeah, dynamic backcourt duo in Terrence Brown and Don McHenry. Brown leads the team in scoring, assists, and steals. 22.1 points per game, 3.9 assists per game, 1.7 steals per game. He shoots 47% from the floor and 38% from three. Don McHenry averages 18 points per game, shoots 40% from three. This is a very, very dynamic guard duo. They score in a myriad of ways. Obviously, they are very proficient three-point shooters. They get to the free throw line at a respectable clip. And then their big man, Keanu Dawes, he is a little undersized. That's going to be an interesting challenge for him because going against three Arizona State bigs that are 6'11 or taller. But he has built up a respectable season, 12.4 points per game, almost 9 rebounds per game. He passes the ball very well as far as a big man is concerned. He's not the strongest rim protector, and that's a big reason why Utah struggled a little bit this season to close out games. But those three players have potential to be game changers, especially in this setting against an Arizona State team that has a little more depth. I'd say Arizona State's eight-man rotation probably has the edge over Utah's eight-man rotation. But I'd also say their top three players might have a higher ceiling or more consistent output compared to Arizona State's top three players. So it's going to be an interesting battle. I mean, Utah is on a little bit of a downswing as well. That has to be something that is brought up. I mean, they competed with BYU the first time they played about 3 weeks ago at home. They lost by only five. They competed with Texas Tech. They beat TCU. And then the next three games, they lose a game to Kansas State. They get blown out on the road against BYU, and they lose in a game where they were within 15 points for most of the day against Oklahoma State. Were never able to actually make it a one or two possession game. So they've had some ups and downs this season. I mean, they have beaten a couple of quality teams or decent teams. They beaten Ole Miss, and like I said, they beat TCU. Other than that, a lot of uneven play. They lost to Cal Poly. They lost to Grand Canyon, which isn't a bad loss, but it doesn't help their case to be labeled a quality team. And they've only won one game in Big 12 play, as I said. This is absolutely a game that Arizona State has to win because by the end of the season, there's a chance that they only have one or two conference victories, and Arizona State doesn't want to be one of those wins that the Utah Utes secures in league play. Um, yeah, and as far as a prediction is concerned, I think that Arizona State will end up coming out on top. I'm not sure what it's going to look like, what the final score is going to look like, what the flow of the game is going to look like. I think that it's probably a safe assumption to say that it's going to be a high scoring shootout, but you never know. I think with players such as Terrence Brown, uh, players such as Terrence Brown, Don McHenry, I think they really espouse the potential for a high scoring game as well as Mo Odom, Masamba Diop, and Anthony Johnson for Arizona State. I think Arizona State at the end of the day, Julie, sorry. I think at the end of the day that the Arizona State's consistency on the offensive side of the ball wins out. I think Utah's a little more volatile. I mean, like I said, I think their top three players are a little more steady compared to a Masamba Diop or a Pig Johnson. I mean, those guys' ceilings are very high, but we've seen in the last couple of weeks they can back up a 18-point game with an 8-point game. But at the end of the day, I think Arizona State's bench is significantly better. I think that Bobby Hurley comes into the game with a real hunger to win, and I think the Sun Devils come out of Utah with a win, heading into Colorado with an opportunity to go to 13-11 on the season. And that's really all I have for today. Thank you so much for tuning into another edition of the Sun Devils Insider podcast. And I will be joining you with another episode tomorrow. So stay tuned. Thank you so much for all your support, and I will see you then.